Welcome to Ek Samvaad at Arunima Ankuran. Sarve Bhavantu Sukhino. Psychology in Practice. This is a new series of talks under the umbrella of Ek Samvaad, a conversation with practicing psychologists from different domains. A word about Arunima Ankuran. This is an initiative for positive social change through self-development. The goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. At Arunima Ankuran, we believe that each person is unique and special in some way. Each one of us can make a difference. Each one of us can make an impact. Each one of us can be a change maker. And that's where the inspiration of Arunima Ankuran comes from. This new section of Ek Samvaad is an effort to share valuable ideas from the various branches of psychology that could help and make a positive difference in everyday lives of people. Psychology is the study of the mind and behavior. As a student of psychology, I have often wished researchers and academicians could share inputs from their work and experience to help those outside the classroom or laboratory. So this series of Ek Samvaad is an initiative inspired by the idea of enhancing overall well-being and happiness for all through practicable lessons from psychologists from different branches such as abnormal, clinical, cognitive, counseling, developmental, educational, organizational, sports, and so much more. So this is the beginning of a new journey. Thank you for being a part of it. Educational psychology in practice is seeking answers to questions like, why do some students learn more than others? What can be done to improve that learning? Teachers can change lives with just the right mix of chalk and challenges. Educational psychology adds flavor to that whole process. Today, our guest for this Samvaad is an educator and practitioner of educational psychology, Mrs. Tabbasum Ali, BSc, BA, Additional English Literature, MEd, NET Education, TGT Chemistry at Bhavan's PP Vidya Mandir, Ashti. She's a master trainer in science, certified by the CBSE, former lecturer in a B.Ed college, former assistant professor in MEd college for 4 years, teaching advanced educational psychology, guidance and counseling, and educational technology. She's been a research guide for research thesis of 45 MEd students. The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say the children are now working as if I did not exist. But it takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of caring. It takes a lot of sharing. We are going to talk to Tabbasum ma'am about her own experiences as a teacher and how an understanding of educational psychology helped her to become a more effective teacher and to bring out the best in her students. Welcome to Ek Samvaad, ma'am. Ma'am, you've been teaching very senior students as well as younger ones. So, Tabbasum ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. That's very true what you have said. I have been teaching to very senior students as well as now in the school education I am. So this basically this change has helped me to grow as well in the field of psychology. Somewhere we call it the science of mind. Actually, after entering into the school education, now actually I think so I am becoming aware what is the science of mind we say. Because when I was teaching in the college, it was like only till theory part what I was explaining the students. But now I am myself going through experiential learning, I must say. There I used to look for the topics for research related to education. Now in the school education, I can see there are so many topics that could be taken as action research by the teachers also, by the school teachers also, they can take it as action research topic. So I am really loving to be with the school students. And I think so my knowledge of psychology, I'm trying to inculcate to make up new innovative methods for the students, making things easy for them. And today I want to share these factors of psychology with which each and every teacher should be aware of. because that is going to enhance the teaching, make the teaching effective, and definitely going to help them in classroom management teaching. And in the present pandemic situation, it will help them in their online teaching as well. So I would like to share a PowerPoint presentation with you. Basically, B.Ed, the students are gaining the training for becoming a teacher. But if we see in the present scenario, actually, practically speaking, it remains only up till theory. Psychology is only up till theory for the B.Ed students. They, if in the practical aspect, if we see, they're only bothered of getting a good job in a good school of repute. That's it. That is the present situation. And that psychology part, I think so, only few of the teachers are actually implementing in their teaching profession. It is only concise till we get a degree of B.Ed. This is this sounds something, I think so, it might sound a bit blunt, but this is the true fact. The psychology which we learn, that subject of psychology which is there in B.Ed, it remains only up till the theories which we have learned for passing out the B.Ed exam. Only few handful of teachers are actually implementing it. And there are n number of reasons also, maybe, for not implementing, because of the tight schedule which they are having. But I don't think so it's so very difficult also if we give an initiative to implement these factors of psychology, keeping in mind designing good strategies for teaching. It is not that difficult as well. So basically, what is as I said, psychology is a science of mind. And when we talk about educational psychology, it deals with the scientific study of human behavior in educational situation. That is, in learning situation, what is the behavior of the student. Now, our student with whom we are dealing, if we are aware about the psychological factors, probably, like, it's very simple. If the doctor knows about the sign and symptom, then only he would be able to, do the treatment. Likewise, if I am aware about the psychological factors, there are 4 types of learners. There are different types of learning styles. If I am aware about this, if I am aware about the psychological concept, that is what is defense mechanism, then probably I would be able to differentiate between 2 students of my class who is using a fake excuse and who is actually genuinely giving an excuse.
Yes.
So this is what I am trying to correlate. There are different type of defense mechanisms which are been taught in B.Ed, but how far we are actually using those type of factors we are keeping in mind when we are teaching in the classroom, that matters a lot. So basically, educational psychology, making it very simple from the layman point of view.
Yes.
Which a common man can understand. What is educational psychology? Psychology which deals with a person's behavior in learning situation. Now, educational psychology is a scientific discipline which is basically going to give you the answer of 2 major questions. Why do some individuals learn more than others? Yes, there are 45 students in the class, but why all are not the toppers? Why some are mediocre? Why some are below average? What can be done to improve that learning?
Yes.
So we'll see that. Now, educational psychology, basically, if the teacher is having the knowledge of educational psychology, or somewhere she is trying to implement or keep some factors in mind of psychology, basically, which is going to help her to engage the students, cooperative learning, help in assessment. Now, this is what I personally feel is a very important factor, that is called as individual differences. Every teacher should keep in mind, whether teaching in lower class or middle class or higher class or college level, that individual differences should be kept in mind when you are designing a lesson plan. Because all students are not are having the same, they are not having the same pace to learn. They are not proceeding with the same pace. They are not having the same level of memory to memorize the thing. So basically, individual differences are there. Some students are having a very good grasping power. Some hesitate. Some are extrovert. Some are introvert. So all these things we learn in psychology in B.Ed, but as I said, it remains only up till giving exams. So here the individual differences, which definitely a teacher should keep in mind when she is designing a lesson. When we keep individual differences in mind, the lecture should start with review questions. Because it is not necessary that all 45 must have done homework, must have done studies one day prior. A child must have been absent one day prior. So that is going to brush up the knowledge what the teacher has taken one day prior. So at least 3 to 4 review questions, recapitulation helps a lot for everyone to get reconnected.
Mm.
And motivation. Second very important factor according to me is motivation. A small smile. A simple smile also gives a motivation by the teacher.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Nodding the head, very good. Making such statements, so that that somewhere the child feels as if his prestige has risen up by such a small. And every time asking the question to a good learner is somewhere I think so wrong. The child, even if the answer is wrong, motivation should be given. Okay, it's not the correct answer, but now we can correct it.
Right.
So that is the way. Basically, teachers, because of the workload, I must say, it might sound a bit blunt, but this is the true fact. Many teachers, because of the time limit, the course completion, being myself in the same profession, when I see, I think so the teacher's mentality I can reveal more better. And being the assistant professor in education department, I know that actually what should happen. So both the ways, it is like me as a spectator watching the match.
Right.
I know everything, what should be done and what is going on.
Yes.
So basically, the teachers, because of they are having also a time period has been there for the course completion. So many a times they might be skipping this, recapitulation part. But I must say 5 minutes, hardly 5 minutes are required for this recapitulation, which is going to energize the students, which is going to make them, get connected to the lecture.
Yes.
Then the theories, various theories you have studied in psychology, but it is not necessary that you need to learn the name of the theory. Only thing is the matter of bringing it into practice. Like the theory of motivation, we all have learned in B.Ed college. Motivation is, I'm going to share one example also in this, actual real life example, how motivation can bring miracles. Then this will help to bring the development and definitely will help you to carry out the assessment. And that assessment will not be only quantitative, but actually qualitative assessment, what we say. That is, by the end of the day, you are going to get the satisfaction that, yes, I have been capable of bringing about the change in my students, which actually I wanted. It is not only the matter of marks, that yes, my subject, a very good grade is there, but actually I am satisfied that after 2 days also, if I am entering into the class, I am putting up a question, my students are promptly giving the answer. So that is going to give me the 100% satisfaction, I guess, more than the marks, I must say. So now this, if a teacher is having the knowledge of various factors of psychology, as I said, that's not very difficult to keep in mind. We are not talking about big theories of psychology. As I said, making it very simple from the layman point of view. If you are having the knowledge that there is an individual difference in the class, yes, then you are going to plan the strategy accordingly. Know that there are some are introvert and some are extrovert. You are going to plan the strategy accordingly. So these are so very simple. So this is going to help you to bring change in teaching methodology. Your teaching methodology should be more of child-centric, keeping in view the child.
Yes.
Not in keeping in view how to complete the portion. Okay.
That's so
for
precious.
Portion completion, I can design. I can design very hi-fi strategies also, but my motive should be from the point of view of the child. So it should be more of child-centric. That is going to help you to make innovative techniques, which will be more interactive, which will be more evolving, and definitely experiential. Now, with the help of these things, you can build up various. There are already designed multiple teaching methods. Now, only thing is that now you look back into these methods with the perspective of psychology, keeping in mind. Now, before this also, you all are aware, the teachers are aware about various methods of teaching, but now keeping in mind the psychological factors, as I said, if you are designing a class with your lecture, your day-to-day lecture which you are taking, now you keep in mind the individual difference. So you have to proceed. When you will keep in mind the individual difference in mind, then your lecture will proceed teaching the concept from simple to complex, not introducing a complex concept immediately, but you are going to analyze it, you are going to break it into small fragments, and then you are going to arrange it from simple to complex. And one very good technique for this is the concept mapping. Especially this is going to help the science teachers a lot. Not only science teachers, it could be taken in any subject. The concept maps are very helpful for a child to get connected to the previous topic with the new topic, as well as that helps the child to have a review of whatever concepts have been done. So various multiple teaching methods are there: case study, coaching, peer to peer group method, lecture. Then there is the field exercise, action learning, then team learning, what we say, and simulation. So as I said, all these methods will be effective only when you are keeping in mind the educational psychology, moreover the child psychology in mind. All these techniques we have learned in B.Ed. All the teachers who are doing the B.Ed, they are learning these techniques. But how far we are keeping in mind when we are designing the lesson for the child, we are not keeping these things in mind. Even when the question paper is designed, it should be keeping in mind the individual differences. Actually, that is not to test the teacher's knowledge, that is to test the knowledge of the child.
That's brilliant. So true, ma'am. Absolutely.
Keys to effective, this is definitely going to help you to have a very effective classroom management. I must say, if the teacher is keeping in mind all these factors, never she will face the problem of indiscipline in the class.
Yes.
Because your students will be eagerly waiting for your lecture, which they'll start enjoying. They will find it interesting. They are not going to have a burden on the head like now it's this in this period. They will feel relaxed. They will always enjoy learning in your class. Engage the students as soon as they enter the classroom. Be ready to teach as soon as the bell rings. That means you should have that much efficiency to engage them. Engage them in a way, as I said, have a recapitulation. When the question answer round starts, everybody is eager to answer. If you are keeping in mind the individual difference, definitely your students are going to promptly answer in the class, and they will love this question answer round. Include various activities and materials to capture students' attention and interest. Like, the science teacher, sometimes she can bring the lab in the class, performing small activities. We can have few activities we can have in the class. We can perform some experiments in the class also. We can call two students to mix two solution also, which are not very corrosive. Such type of solutions we can bring in the class. So they feel very, it is a matter of pride for them. In the class, I was called for the activity. I got the chance.
Yes.
So this is going to have a two-way effect. You will be performing something with the help of activity, plus you are boosting up, the morale of the child. That is going to be an indirect motivation which you are giving.
Yes.
Involve all to understand why what you are teaching is important to them. Exactly. Very often, you won't believe, in the 10th standard also when I am teaching, after the recapitulation, in between, when 15 minutes have gone of the class, I do make the statement, okay, I hope everybody is connected. We are dealing with this and this topic, and we are dealing with this and this concept. There are daydreamers also in the class. As I said, we all have learned these things in psychology, but actually we are not keeping in mind. So the daydreamers will be full focused looking at the board, but that they are in their own fantasy world.
Yes, ma'am.
So to keep them connected, you have to be vigilant. You have to have voice modulation. You have to be somewhere, with the students, in between asking some question, in between making somebody to read. Or call a few students for activity, then only your class is going to be interactive. Otherwise, it will be only passive lecture, and then you can only expect quantitative, you can say, productivity, not qualitative. That will be only rote learning. That's what I feel, and I don't like rote learning at all. So I am quite happy to say that my students, they are actively able to answer because they are having the concept clarity. I always focus on concept clarity. Now, involve all students. Make sure students understand why what you are teaching. Be positive. Yes, a positive attitude of the teacher, it is going to have a great influence on your students. Point out what students are doing well. Congratulate students on his or her accomplishment or behavior. As I said, a simple smile, it works as a big motivation booster for the child. Nodding a head, giving a statement, that is really going to be, you have made the day of that child, you never know. I still remember when I was in school life, A simple statement by my teacher used to make me cherish the whole day.
Yeah.
That used to make my whole day that ma'am has given such a good compliment to me in the class. So I always think from that point of view. Then this is very important, I think so. And as I said, I've tried to make it simple from layman point of view. For this, you don't need to be a psychologist. For this, you don't need to have the well-versed theories of psychology or remember the name of the psychologist. No, not necessary at all. A layman point of view, a teacher, being a teacher, you should have knowledge of child psychology. Child psychology, as I said, you should know that there are some who are very hesitant to speak. Some are gifted child in your class. Some might be facing some learning disability. You know, there might be some students might be facing learning disability, and we are all, being a teacher, we are always shouting on them that you are never answering the questions and all. Might be the child might be facing a learning disability. See, whenever I teach this topic of hemoglobin in biology, I tell them, deficiency of iron leads to anemia. So what is the symptoms of anemia? The person feels very tired, lethargic. He doesn't find interest at all in any work. And immediately I make a statement, but please don't count yourself as anemic. You all are not anemic at all. So because many of you are sometimes not attentive, so don't think that you are anemic. So basically, it is possible that a teacher should focus on this factor also. If a child in my class, very often he is disinterested, not connected in the class, he might be facing such a problem also. So that should be discussed with the parent instead of putting it as a complaint to the parent. Instead of putting it as a complaint, if consistently you find a child, very lethargic, not interested in any activity, then it should be brought into the notice of the parent that please don't scold the child. Probably just try to find out if he is facing such a problem. Because, in the parents' meet, there is usually we are putting up the complaint to the parents that he is not attentive and so and so. But actually, this thing should also be kept in mind. Then importance of motivation, as I said, it is going to be a booster dose for the child. A small motivational words, whether it is to a gifted child, a mediocre or a below average, it is going to enhance and encourage the child to proceed towards higher goals. Then defense mechanism. There are different types of defense mechanism which you have learned in psychology in B.Ed. All the teachers, like projecting the blame on others, trying to be an escapist. When we are already having the knowledge and when the child is practicing that, we say that we have learned in B.Ed that when very often a child is practicing, we all might be using defense mechanism in some or the other way. But if regularly a person is using defense mechanism, that is going to lead him or her to a maladjusted personality. So if you are having the knowledge of defense mechanism, and if you find that very often a student of your class is using the defense mechanism, then I think so, being a teacher, it is your responsibility somewhere to just counsel. For that, you don't need to be a counselor. A teacher herself is a very good counselor, could be a very good counselor for the child. As I said, you all are having the knowledge of these defense mechanisms. Now, so these defense mechanisms should be avoided. You should try that the child should never use these kind of defense mechanism, which is going to somewhere distort his entire persona. Now, individual differences, very essential to keep in mind for designing the lesson, for planning the teaching strategies, for using the teaching methodology. Adjustment and maladjustment. You know it very well what is meant by maladjustment. All the teachers are having the knowledge what is meant by maladjustment. The person who is not able to adjust to the situation. Sometimes it might happen that a average level or a high scorer student of your class, due to the reason, has not scored well. Now, if he is not getting that motivation, he will never be able to come up. Slowly, especially this occurs with those who are high scorers. If due to any reason their score goes down, then that is going to lead them to a maladjusted personality. Because they get complete scolding from the teachers, from the parents, and being a good scorer, they are very conscious. So looking at their classmates proceeding ahead, they are going into depression. So that is going to lead into maladjustment. So being a teacher, it is your responsibility to keep this in mind. The personality traits needed to be developed in the student. When you are aware what is meant by persona, a good personality, definitely you are going to try to inculcate. I would like to share one actual real life experience. Last year, I was the class teacher of 10th standard, and since last 3 years, 4 years, I'm trying to inculcate this good value in all the students of my class, whichever class teachership I get, that whenever a child is absent for more than 3 days, the class monitors are going to ask in the class who is going to help this child to complete the notes. And voluntarily, you have to give your contribution, whether it could be one answer written in the notebook of that child. Because after 3 days, when a child comes back to school, the very first thing burdening, he might be absent due to any reason, but the very first thing burdening is completion of notes for that child, asking for notebooks in the entire class. So when that help that child gets, it is, it has really shown miracles in my class. So good value is inculcated in the students, that is the helping attitude. So you won't believe, the entire class has raised the hand that I will write the maths part, I will write the geography 1 page, I will write the science 2 page. Within 2 days, the child's all notebook got completed.
Amazing.
So
Amazing.
this became a regular practice. This, and you won't believe, this has happened in my 10th standard also. Well, one child was facing some medical problem and he was absent for 10 days. And that child was somewhere, you can say, more of introvert type, not speaking much in the class. And because of being with a lot of burden of incomplete notes, he was again taking leave. Then I called him. I said, your notebooks, your classmates are going to help you out to complete the notebooks. So remain present in the class. Don't remain absent. And within 3 days, all the notebooks were completed.
That's brilliant.
I cannot explain that thing. The smile on the child of that face, on the face of that child, the smile that really gave happiness to me and my entire class.
Yes.
So that was really a situation where I felt that I have done something good.
Ma'am, you're
So
doing
the
a lot of
importance
good.
of emotional intelligence.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, you know, somewhere being a teacher, I got that satisfaction that I am not only teaching my part of subject, but somewhere I was able to inculcate a very good value in all my students.
Indeed.
And I told them, keep this attitude always. Don't ever you try to hesitate to help others. What is there to be in a race? वो कहते हैं ना, रेस में ऐसे रह के क्या फायदा जब सारे एक जैसे इक्विप्ड ना हो. आपका एक दोस्त के पास नोट्स नहीं है और आप रेस में उसको साथ में भाग रहे हो तो आप ही जीतोगे ना. रेस में मजा कैसा? So everybody should be well equipped with the notes and then you have a race. So I always try to inculcate that spirit of competition also in them. But I said, you don't have any charm in that race when everybody is not having the same, everyone is not with the same kind of notes or everything what is needed. So basically, this has really given a very good proven results. Importance of emotional intelligence. Yes, the teacher should have the knowledge of emotional intelligence, that being the teenagers, as we are teaching the teenagers, they need to be emotionally intelligent or mature, how to deal with the situation. Because, we are having the control over the child only in the school. Outside the school, we are not having the control on his or her life. So basically, many ups and downs are being faced by the child at the family front also.
Yes.
There are many number of problems. May it be a financial problem, may it be a dispute in the family or anything like that. So there, if the teacher is having the knowledge of emotional intelligence, that she will be able to, identify why there is a change in the behavior of my child. Then she will call that child and counsel. I have done this. Basically, during the recess time, I used to do this. After observing the change in the class, I used to call that particular child during the recess. And then I used to counsel, is there any problem? Why these days you are not speaking much in the class? So, then slowly I come to know various things about that particular child. So basically, I think so, the knowledge of emotional intelligence, if the teacher is having, she will be able to make her students emotionally intelligent. And lastly is the adversity quotient, which is related to this emotional intelligence. We should have a very good adversity quotient. That means how to deal with adverse situation. How far we are competent enough to deal with the adverse type of situation. So I used to always motivate the students. Yes, doesn't matter if this has happened. We are going to come out of it. We are going to make it together. And I'm always, only these two words I used to say, I'm always there with you. In this entire school, you won't believe there was a child. I am not going to mention the name of that child. He has passed out 10th and with very good percentage, 89 some percentage he has got. He was a very good scorer. But when he came in our school, he was in 7th. When he joined the school, he was in 7th standard, and I was the class teacher of 7th at that time. So he was like, he was a homesick child. Because of the change in school, he was not getting adjusted, and he was somewhere introvert type. But he was academically, he was very good in the previous school. So the parents were very much worried. Every PTM they used to say he don't want to come to school at all. So I tried to get him included in a good group of students. I told other students that kindly help him out, keep him along with you always. But still, that was not giving me good results. This 2-3 months passed, and again in the PTM the parents said we are thinking to withdraw the admission now because he doesn't want to come to school at all. He's every time he is making some or the other reason for not going to school. I said he's having very good friends now. But then I called those students, why you people are not including him in your group? They said, ma'am, he is not getting included, we are calling him. Then finally I called that boy and I said, what is the problem? Why you don't want to get included with your friends? He said, ma'am, I don't like to be in the school. I said, why? Am I not teaching well? He said, no, ma'am, you are very good. I don't have any problem. Then, okay, I said, leave all those things. Only you remember one thing, that in this entire school, there is one person who is always with you. Whenever you feel low, you can come to me. Whichever class I am teaching. Whichever class I am teaching, whether I am teaching in 9th, 10th, you can immediately take permission from that class teacher and come to me. And then you can share your whatever problem you are having with me. You won't believe he used to come. And slowly, that particular child, he came out of the situation. He started playing. He was very good in football. He emerged like a very good, academic scorer. And with 89%, he has passed out 10th. And the parents came to me, it is all because of you in 10th standard when he scored in the prelims also very good marks. The parents came to me, it is just because of you he was able to come out of the situation. You won't believe a 7th, 8th standard child, he used to come behind me, ma'am, I'm not feeling well right now. I feel like crying. I said, what happened? I'm there with you. I'm there with you. Any problem is there? I'm there with you. I just made one statement, in this entire school, wherever I am, you can come to me. I am there for you. So that particular one statement has made such a, magical effect on a child. So that helped me to enhance, my teaching strategies as well. That has given me very good proven results. And I just say that teachers should keep these things in mind, which I have tried to focus. Then coming to the present situation, that is the online teaching. We should have a positive approach. It is no doubt there are some benefits, pros and cons. It saves time and money. The digitized content, he can review, the students can review the contents, whatever you are posting. And the students are getting a flexible mode of learning. They are able to proceed with their own pace, with their own speed, they are able to proceed. Even an introvert child can enjoy the class because nobody, is going to he's not actually facing the classroom situation. So somewhere he is able to come out of this, that hesitant attitude. And as I said, learning at your own pace, online learning is on the rise. Freedom to choose the place anywhere at home, in your home, anywhere you can sit. There's no, binding that you have to be at one particular corner only. Then e-learning is generally, they find it more short, brief. And as I said, they can review the things that is really a very plus point. You can't, that students are not going to every time tell the teacher in the actual classroom, yes ma'am, please repeat the same lecture. But they can review the lecture video. If they want, they can review the lecture video through online teaching.
Yeah.
Then, as I said, there are various advantages of online learning, but that all depends upon how we are going to take it, whether we are having a optimistic approach or a pessimistic approach. So basically, psychological factors kept in mind, whether offline or online, they are definitely going to help out the teachers, the students, and the entire teaching learning process, I must say.
Thank you so much for sharing so much of knowledge in such a capsule, ma'am. There are some things that that I think we can. I'd like to talk to you about. For example, let's say there are situations in which a teacher is not really sure of whether the students are engaged with what she's teaching. So, what are some of the tips that you would like to share? How does she make an assessment of, are they on the same platform? Like you said, one of the things is reviewing, that is from the pre, but even in the current class, let's very practical tips to assess whether they're really still engaged.
Yes. So that's very true. To find out whether the students are actually engaged in the class or not, to find out. As I said, if I am a teacher, keeping in mind and designing my lecture, keeping in mind the individual differences, all the factors keeping in mind, then, and if I am teaching that class, I am aware of the daydreamers. I am aware. If you teach for 1 week in a class, you become aware. Being a teacher, you are having that tact,
Yeah.
Yes, you are having that. In every teacher is having that inbuilt use. I can say that kind of tact that they come to know within a week. They'll come to know who are the nuisance makers, who are the daydreamers, who are the introverts, who are the gifted child or extrovert. They come to know. So accordingly, when you design your class and you make them include in the activities, it is not like recapitulation should be always a part of your lecture. Always. I must say it should always be a part of the lecture, because that is going to grab the attention. 80% attention of your students you will be able to grab with recap. They will get connected. Even if they don't answer, they become, connected. Yes, ma'am can ask question to me. Okay. And then you can put up the question to such students only. You can put up the question to such students whom you have identified. And when you give a word of motivation to them, it is like, okay, I have given a correct answer. Okay, my answer is correct. That nuisance maker also, somewhere he is going to get motivated. Then after recapitulation, as I said, if you ask them to solve a chemical equation on the board, that depends on the subject you are teaching. If it's the language, you can ask them to read. You can ask them to read. Then you can have a group discussion. If I am teaching a language, I can throw a topic for group discussion. If I am teaching science, I can have a discussion on a particular topic. Okay, what is your view according to your opinion about this and this concept? What you are having the knowledge, speak at least 2 features or 2 sentences. Like somewhere in nursery, what it is done. Nursery, in the nursery classes, what they do, they give a topic. Like I know when my son was in the nursery class, he used to get a topic. One day he is getting a topic like bicycle. So something 3 lines he has to speak on bicycle, any 3 lines. So likewise, if I am teaching a particular concept, okay, now on the fertilization process, kindly speak at least 2 sentences. You can ask these type of questions. This is apart from recap I am asking. In between the lecture. To make them connected. While you're explaining on the board, you have completed the explanation. Immediately you can put up a question to a particular child. So the whole time, the entire lot will remain vigilant. If you're teaching chemistry, you can club it with, either EduCom module or a small experiment in the class. Call few students, give turn to other students also. And specifically, you call those students who are the nuisance makers, who are below average, the daydreamers. You can bring them in the front line. Indirectly, they'll, without informing them that I am making you do all these things. Yes, I think so. This is going to actually help the teacher.
Not labeling. Even if you know that these are the nuisance makers, you don't have to put a label. That label sticks. Yeah, I think that is a very good thought.
Yeah, I would like to just take 2 minutes more. There was a child, he was like, very notorious in 9th standard. I was the class teacher. He was very notorious, but very good in art and craft. He was almost, getting very low marks, 3, 3, 4, 4 subjects on the borderline, getting failed also in 3, 4 subjects. But he was very good in art and craft, very good in painting, but very notorious. Used to snatch the lunchbox of the classmates. He was a bit hefty and very cute. But I realized that as you said, every child is unique. Every child is having some or the other potential. I realized that
Yes.
he is having the potential of good art and craft. So what I did, I called him. I said, "You want to remain like this? You are going to pass 10th with such kind of marks, 30, 40% marks." No, ma'am. The parents were so very troubled because of his behavior that he is never listening to us. We are sending him to tuition classes and so on. All these kind of things I used to get to hear during the PTM. And what I realized is this is not going to work.
Hmm.
Merely counseling and lecture is not going to work at all. Then in our school, one of the teacher who is having the responsibility of taking the students for, making science model and all, and taking them for national level, state level competitions or inter-school competitions. He asked me that if any child is there in your class from 9th standard. I said, yes, I do have one. He's not very good in academics. Believe me, he's very good in art and craft. And I will help him out to be good in academics. He said, but will he be able to answer the questions and all? I said, I am going to help him out. Just trust me, give him one chance. And that he got Inspire Award in that team. He was in the team who got the Inspire Award for the science model making competition. That has been a motivational booster for that child. I'm proud to say this passed 10th with 66 percentage. The one who used to get very low percentage, automatically he got recognition. Peop all the students of the school, they okay, was there for that award now, photograph was taken, he got so, all of a sudden what is happening, like he become a celeb. And in 10th standard, he promised me right from the beginning, I am going to, ma'am, I'm going to bring good percentage. Slowly, 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 step by step, he proceeded. That is what I wanted to actually bring into the notice of all the teachers, that we do say that motivation helps a lot, but actually I have seen the proven results and how the morale of the child could be, raised up. A child who thinks himself very below average, who is always been neglected, who is always getting scolding at home, scolding from the teachers. And I have seen, miraculous result. So I can, that's why I can say so confidently that you should have or keep in mind the knowledge of these psychological factors that is related to the educational psychology. And they are not so difficult to keep in mind also. We don't need a very big deal or something extra we don't have to do. We are making the lesson plans, everything we are doing, we just have to make it from simple to complex. Keeping in mind that individual differences are there, it always keep in mind that there are some introverts also in the class. That is the thing you have to keep into notice when you're designing a teaching strategy. That's it.
And what are some of the absolute no-nos? Like one that I can share from my personal experiences, labeling. I had a school teacher, ma'am.
Yes.
This is something that I've never shared on a public platform earlier, but let me do this because it's in the context of educational psychology. So I have two siblings. Both of them were toppers. They were very fun-loving people, but at the same time, they were toppers. They were always top of their class. And I was this fluctuating between being in the top few and then suddenly being in the bottom, like this. So she labeled me as the black sheep of the house. So every once in a while, she would say, "You're the black sheep of the house." And in her classroom, I used to feel so inadequate. I used to feel so lost, so fearful, so uncomfortable, that even if I knew the answers, I could never speak. Because that label stuck.
That is the thing.
And to this day, it's one of the harshest memories of my school life that fortunately I had very, very understanding, caring parents who never let that label stick. But then I also think that there's a great amount of damage labeling can do to a student. So I think that is something that is an absolute no for teachers. Whether you're labeling them as brilliant, outstanding or something, even that label can sometimes put them into an overconfident mode. But at the same time, especially a negative label. And any other things that from your experience?
As you said, labeling is something that should be avoided. Whether you are labeling a very brilliant child, brilliant child can get overconfident. That is one thing. But the one who are average scorers, they will, somewhere get demoralized. Okay, only that particular child is the brilliant one. We are not. So that inferiority complex will come. So you are basically, by labeling to a gifted child or a below average child, you are somewhere damaging their persona completely. And the school days memories, we never forget. We never forget those memories. So somewhere indirectly, the teacher is going to somewhere, hamper that particular memory of that child also. That child is going to keep as you have kept it in mind till date. Similarly, that particular child will keep that in mind. As I said, in my school days, I still remember the compliment given. When I became the vice captain of the house, what compliment I got for elocution. So those are the sweetest memories, I must say. So like that, I think so every child do deserve a very sweet memory of the school childhood days. And so labeling should be avoided completely. Then apart from labeling, some teachers are being very directly or indirectly or knowingly or unknowingly sometimes are very harsh to the students. Harsh in a sense through words, using harsh words. Sometimes even if the teacher is saying, no, not now, loudly if the teacher is saying, no, not now, shouting or saying something like that, it hurts.
Yes.
I remember that even I was like 80% scorer, 85% scorer in my school days. And if in any day's lecture, if the teacher used to not look at me once also, that also used to have a, impact on my mind. आज तो टीचर ने देखा ही नहीं मेरे तरफ पूरे टाइम वो मेरी फ्रेंड की तरफ दूसरी तरफ देख रही थी. It was like something in my mind. So you never know in what context the child is going to take it. So you should keep in mind that you should avoid harsh attitude and harsh words. And as I said, even if you are inculcating recapitulation question, review or something like that, and it is without any motivation, without any perks of good statement or comment, so that is not going to have any impact, whether you include 10 recap question or include any activity. So what is not you have to do is you should avoid labeling, you should avoid harsh attitude. Somewhere some teachers might be showing a very, asympathetic behavior, like, somewhere when the child needs counseling, and you are not actually doing that. So that is also something, harsh on the part of that child. And as I said, it doesn't require much of efforts to be taken. You can call that child for 5 minutes during the recess. A 5 minutes counseling also, ma'am has called me, she is having attention on me. That puts a great impact on the mind of the child. I am into the notice, I am having a recognition. I'm having only a few, just 2 sentences. Is it okay, beta? Are you okay? Only those many words are going to have a great impact. Calling the child, your notebook is never complete. Using harsh and scolding in front of the whole class, making the child stand, and this should be avoided. This should be avoided. In fact, you should replace this with motivation in front of the whole class. I think so. This should be avoided when, because a teenager is very much, conscious. As they are growing emotionally intelligent, so they are becoming conscious, self-conscious. They need space now. So that should be kept in mind. So don't make the child embarrassed in front of the whole class. Avoid labeling, avoid harsh attitude and behavior. And I don't think so that's a very big deal to do with.
And no comparison. No comparisons. Like I really like the fact that you have been emphasizing that there are individual differences and we should not make any comparison. Plus the idea of positive reinforcement.
When we keep in mind.
Yeah. That's
reinforcement. Positive reinforcement is going to give you a motivational booster to the child, and comparison is only going to put the child into inferiority complex, nothing else. You're never going to get good results by comparison at all. Whether the comparison is done in the family, probably the child is already facing comparison at home.
right.
So why you are again doing the same thing? Why you are again doing the same thing in school?
Yes.
So at least in school life, this school is said to be a miniature society. So in the school itself, you can try to avoid these things. Now you don't have a control at their home, but at least in school you can do.
Right.
So comparison also should be avoided.
I also like the fact, ma'am, that you said an improvement from wherever the child was. You don't have to set up a landmark for everybody and say, okay, you have to go up and touch a 90 or something. If somebody moves from 30 to 60, that itself should be applauded. So it's
Exactly.
wonderful.
That
It's
it
such
should
a nice.
itself should be applauded. Again, I would like to share one experience here.
Yes,
That my 10th D class, the very first day in my lecture, I was having the 9th standard result in my hand, result sheet. And I told them, these many A1s are there in the class. These many A2s are there in the class. So I am giving a small goal to each and every one of you. By the end of the session, if you are listening to me, you are going to take a 10% at least leap in that percentage. So I gave the goal to a 60% scorer to be in 70% till periodic 1 or periodic 2, a 70% scorer to come to the level of 80%, an 80% scorer to come to the level of 90%. I must say this, my students have practiced whatever goal I gave them in their hand, and 10th D emerged out with 22 A1s in the class. 45 was class strength, 22 A1 was there in the class, 16 A2 were there in the class, and rest were in the B1 category. So this was the miraculous result I got.
Yes. And this kind of goal setting, which is a very doable kind of goal setting, that that the leap, sudden leap is not a practicable thing.
Exactly. We can't expect a 60%
Yes.
scorer. You can't tell him to, yes, you should be an A1 scorer like the 90% this and this boy you should have. You can't expect that kind of jump. No? So give them small tasks. Step by step, let them proceed according to their pace. So they find it very comfortable,
Yeah.
If I tell a 50% scorer to come to 55, 60, that will be within his reach.
Yes.
That is going to be much tedious for that child.
Yes.
If I'm asking a 60% scorer to come to 65, he will find it very comfortable. Okay, 65 only, na? In the next periodic, I can ask him to proceed to 70. Like this, I can set the goals, and that goal setting could be much better done by the teacher.
Right.
I have made for my students learning timetable at home also. That also I have done. I told them, if you're not able to talk a timetable for yourself to learn, come to me during the recess, I will make a timetable for you. At home, according to your efficiency. If you are able to learn till late night, 10 o'clock, it's okay. If you're able to get up early in the morning and learn, I used to make a timetable for the students. Maximum students came up, ma'am, make a timetable for me to learn at home. So, whether they are completely implementing or not, they're getting that satisfaction, ma'am made a timetable for me.
And also the
that
fact
is something
that
indirectly you are giving motivation.
Yes, and also the fact that someone cares, that she cares enough to do this.
Yes, that is more important.
Yeah.
As I told you, the child feels that he has got recognized.
Yes.
That is definitely going to give you positive results. That is my experience.
Amazing, ma'am. It was so wonderful talking to you. I think one particular input that I would like to share here for teachers is that sometimes, we are all the time putting the focus of the assessment on students. It is a very good idea for teachers to take feedback regularly from students, even while they are in the process of teaching, so that they also have a perspective on what needs to be changed. There is a constant process of feedback.
That should be taken.
Yeah. So, and it can be done formally, it can be done
informally. It's a two-way
informally.
process.
Yes.
Informally, exactly. It can be done informally also.
Yes. And there would be sometimes, I remember my younger son was in school, and at one point of time, when the very beginning level, I think the first year of his schooling, and he said one day he came home and he told me, the principal came, we were in another city at that time. So the principal came to our class today, and then she said, everybody has to speak in English. I said, okay. And then what else? And then he said, बहुत देर तक कुछ बोला, हमको समझ में नहीं आया क्या बोला. So it's such a simple thing that you are saying, speak in English to children who speak Hindi at home or some other language at home. So, okay, speak in English, that registered. But after that, what you're saying, so this idea that जिनको वो language नहीं आती है, आप उनसे उस language में communicate करेंगे, तो it will not work. And I think this is also a very important thing to keep in mind for all the subjects. You must ensure that your children know the language you are speaking. Even if you are teaching
whatever you are speaking, they are understanding it.
Yes. So, So, whichever
we try to take, day to day. Yes. And this, this somewhere what can help you is to give the day-to-day life examples. When you're teaching any subject and you're trying to give day-to-day life examples, they are getting more connected to the topic.
True.
Usually we don't take. Usually teachers, they don't take the day-to-day life examples. Whatever is given in the book, we are giving those examples.
Right.
So somewhere when we are doing this, we are bringing them more connected to the topic, I guess.
Yes. And one other thing that I really enjoyed listening to was, ma'am, the fact that you are building a community in your class where values are being emphasized. I think that is, as far as Arunima Ankuran is concerned, I think I am going to say thank you to you for doing that. Because what you are doing is you are instilling a positive input at the right age. If we do it in schools, the society will completely be a different one. So much more positivity. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I do believe that for teaching good values, we don't need a moral science period always. We don't need a value education period always. I strictly believe in this, that while teaching your own subject also, that I took an initiative to inculcate this value, that we always have a helping nature, and always when you want to compete with others, see that he is also having everything what you are having in terms of notes. Then it is a healthy competition, I must say. So I have tried in each and every class of mine, wherever I am teaching, to inculcate these things. So I think that is giving me a great satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am. And I think, we need more role models like you in schools, in society. Teachers who are so passionate and involved with what they are doing, they can change the world. And you are changing the world, one student at a time.
Thank you.
So, thank you so much, ma'am, for being on Ek Samvaad. Yes, please carry on. Say what you want to say.
Thank you. I really want that somewhere, if this could bring a little bit change also in any teacher's attitude or the attitude of the student, that really it is going to give me great satisfaction. And as I said, when I used to see the change in my students, that used to I used to get enthralled by that. By the end of the day, I used to carry that, especially on the day of the PTM, when I used to get very good comments from the parents that the child has completely changed. Nowadays, he is studying, he listens a lot to you, he always tries to follow you. So that day of PTM used to be the happiest day for me.
Yes,
so I think so. This is what I have gained. This is what I have earned, I think so, actually. And I'm really thankful to Arunima Ankuran for giving this platform to me, for sharing these experiences of mine.
It was a pleasure having you here, ma'am. Thank you so much. And good luck. All the best for your future endeavors. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Lovely. Lovely. I really enjoyed your session, ma'am. बहुत अच्छा हुआ. Lovely.